Hello, everyone. Welcome back. BPL Season 3, Group B, Round 1, Game 2, between two powerhouse players, specifically between Teddy and Contra. So Teddy is up Game 1. He took the first game on Canis River, which was the map that he picked. Zateo, what do you think Contra needs to do to kind of get back in this?
Well, I think against someone like Teddy, you can't afford to make any mistakes. And, he made a few mistakes that I think costed him the game, and so he needs to really be mindful of those.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And he's going to get his pick here, and let's see what he goes with. I know that he's played a lot. Okay, it's Sidious Crack, and interesting. I mean, this is a map that feels like it's been around for a while. Why do you think Contra favors this?
Well, I mean, I think Contra's just a little bit more familiar with this map than other maps. Plus, I think I don't really remember. There might have been something I taught him on this map that maybe has made him do a little bit better on it. I forget, to be honest.
Something you've taught him on this. Is there something you'd like to share with the group, Zateo?
I've walked him through like a lot of the different maps, but I'm not sure if there was something that stuck out in his mind about it, type of thing,
Okay. And it looks like I hear players loading in, and I am going to stop talking, and we are gonna start looking. So Contra is arm bots. He's been a massive arm bot player.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, bottom left in red, Teddy is core. And let's see what lab he drops. I'm assuming this is going to be a bot lab, right? Yeah. Have you seen any labs other than bot lab opens on Sidious?
You could do vehicle.
It feels like vehicles is going to be really hard just because the rest of the terrain is super abusable, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think who was it? Was it Chisato or I don't know? Someone recently. My memory is so bad. Someone recently opened core, or I think it was core vehicle. Might have been arm vehicle. I don't. My memory.
All right, Contra with his standard 7-tick 1-con opening. Let's see if he can get a lot done with these ticks. And Teddy with the grunt first, which he normally uses for scouting. Do you think in these situations as Contra, it's better for him to try to snipe the grunt with a bunch of ticks, or is it better for the ticks to get in and try to deal damage?
I think it just depends on what you see and what you think you can do in the moments. Because sometimes the damage is kind of nice, but other times, like if you kill the grunt, you can still do damage. So, I mean, is your follow-up more ticks or is your follow-up more defensive? And if it's more defensive / expansion, then you probably want to try to keep those ticks alive and just like do some damage where you can.
So Teddy sees the tick, he kills the tick, and now both players know faction and opening lab choices. Teddy's gonna drop a con and expand up north, and Contra actually has a tick that's running there now that might catch it. Teddy's grunt, before it gets to the base, just gets swarmed by ticks. So Contra hasn't dropped back into pawns yet. He's still committed on this 7-tick 1-con on repeat.
Yeah. Okay. So it looks like that tick is going to get killed off there, but he does have those 3 roaming around on the top, so he's just kind of like checking things out. But yeah, it looks like he's trying to keep them alive. More coming in now.
Yeah, Teddy has radar, so he sees all these ticks running around. So it's really going to come down to how well can he respond and how well can he kind of stem the bleeding. Ticks are so incredibly fragile, but if they're unopposed and they can find little weaknesses, it is really annoying to shut them down.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of players like Contra will pull those those grunts away from the base, and then he'll just go into the base with his ticks. He'll like, say like, hey, I'm over here, watch over here. I'm going to go assault your base meanwhile.
Yeah.
And, but Teddy's doing a good job of just keeping some units like back and like, making sure that doesn't happen.
Teddy with the 90 grunt Q. Respectable.
Yep. Yeah, these old players, they like to just like queue up a bunch of stuff instead of using the repeat key.
Yeah, they're on it. Oh, Contra, a little bit of a tick versus grunt battle in mid, but it looks like Teddy wins this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean ticks can pick off like a grunt or two, but like once there starts being more than that, then you kind of need a lot at that point, since they have that like extra range. But yeah, Teddy has a grunts coming down on the left side as well.
He's closing in on the base now, right? So he might be able to see. Oh, pawns
I think Contra must have seen it already. He's already got units over there. Yeah, nice surround. Get that flank damage. All right, so this is kind of interesting. Teddy has forces like on the northern side, but basically nothing on the southern side. I mean, he's protecting his expansions that way, but it also, I mean, I guess he can see stuff on the radar coming to him, right? So he's not like in trouble, but it's also just kind of interesting to me to see it that way. Of just pick one side mentality.
Yeah, and Teddy is actually slightly ahead in terms of metal and energy, which is a little concerning.
Yeah, Contra's just slipping behind a bit. I mean, I think it's just all those ticks. You know, you open that many ticks, it's going to set you back a little bit. I mean, they're basically free, but I mean, it does take time. Yep.
A little bit of bar trivia going on in spectator chat there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Teddy is still expanding here. Oh, he's going to try to make something happen in mid, it looks like. Grunt's just kind of slowly picking off on these pawns. What does he see? Pawns collapse in, so actually these pawns are starting to pick off these grunts, and they do get that mechs, and they're going to keep coming. Oh, but they're going to run into an LLT, so Contra was ready for that. Maybe they can pick off a mechs. They do get one mechs. Does he get... Oh, Teddy gets... Yeah, 3 mechs is total, 2 on that one.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still running. Let's see if he can find anything else. Ticks are chasing, pawns are chasing. Oh, there's protective LLT, so that was actually probably worth it, right? I mean, he sniped all those mechs. They're going to have to be rebuilt, and yeah. How do we feel about the state of the game, Zateo?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was definitely a good play from Teddy. Just early on, like losing those mechs kind of hurts a lot. And yeah, Teddy's just ahead in terms of that medal now for that. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, it looks pretty similar now. Like Contra's kind of caught up a little bit, assuming that he just like, rebuilds those mechs real quick. Or, I'm sorry, resurrects those mechs. And Teddy now, those grunts that are coming in, those are going to be wrecks that Contra can resurrect. So, I mean, Contra is going to be in okay shape, I think, for now. But yeah, it kind of depends on if he's able to get his energy and whatnot back in order.
Yeah, and he's making res bots now, and the res bots are going over to res that. That is actually a pretty substantial swing. Teddy is ahead, but if Contra can res that wreck field and keep control of it, I think you're right. I think that's going to be a pretty massive swing. He is trapped in his base, but Teddy is leaving, or Contra's trapped in his base, but Teddy is still leading slightly in all the economic categories.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how fast Contra can kind of fix up his E here, because I think that's the biggest issue for him at the moment.
When do you think we see a lab switch? I know I've seen quite a few bombing runs on this. Do you think you want to swap into vehicles now, or do you think you want to stay grunts a little bit longer or pawns a little bit longer?
As which player?
Well, really either or. When do you make the swap out of
for Teddy, I feel like he could make a swap anytime right now, assuming that whatever swap he goes into, he has the necessary resources for that swap. So like, for example, going air, you're going to want some extra E. So if he wants to do that, he needs to build on some extra E now beforehand.
Teddy sniped both the expanding cons on bottom. I don't know if you saw that, but that is
I missed that,
really scary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and is he going to be able to get more up here? Wow, Teddy is just like somehow sneaking all of these grunts in and actually getting decent. Oh, no. Contra, you got to eat this. Oh, Contra eats it. Okay. So...
Well, I think you were saying before, like, Contra plays a little bit more zoomed in, and Teddy plays zoomed out, right? So it's kind of...
Yeah.
just one of those things where if you play zoomed in, you can miss those things.
Yeah, you can definitely kind of see it. So yeah, looks like Teddy is doing his vehicle swap now, and he's still able to chip. This just feels like death by 1,000 cuts for Contra. His energy is fixed. He's ahead of Teddy at this point, and there are quite a few wrecks that are here. Wow, look at this almost this entire army is just rezzed here. He rezzed 7 grunts, and that gives him the advantage, right? He's 8% ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it gives him advantage in terms of army, but you know, positionally speaking, like Teddy's commander is getting rather close to Contra's base, so he does need to be careful with that as well. But there definitely is some potential for Contra to do some raids right now while he can. But there is a lot of exploiters actually from Teddy, so I don't really know.
So these raids are going to come in and they're going to run into the 2 LLTs, and there's an exploiter above, so he backs off, and Teddy runs in, he snipes a res bot, and he's still running these grunts in to try to get a little bit more information. He gets that. He doesn't get too much more, so he knows that Contra's commander is right there, and there's really not a lot here. I think if he wanted to, he might be able to just try to like all in on the comm, maybe? Maybe
potentially. I mean, I don't know. At this level, it's like the D-guns are so good that I never actually know how many it takes anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. So Contra snipes a Mex, the LLT. He gets the Raider. He's going to get another LLT. He does see the incisors are out now, though, so he's either going to want to do his own vehicle switch or he's going to want to somehow prepare for it.
Yeah, I feel like Contra kind of needed the switch by this point. I mean, once he fixed his E, his metal's like starting to rise a little bit. His BP's a little low. Could definitely use another lab here.
What wow, Teddy is that is a very forward vehicle lab.
Oh yes, it is. But yeah, I mean, if you want to produce pounders, it looks like that's what he has queued up. Like that's what you kind of want to do, ideally anyway, since they're pretty slow.
Yeah, I mean, versus pure bot, it's absolutely brutal if pounders are just pushing into your base. If you're pure bot, right? Grunts and pawns just really can't do anything, and it makes it very, very hard.
Yeah, I think Contra kind of lost a lot of momentum because he didn't make any switches. Like pawns are great for raiding, but once the map starts getting shut down, like it is right now, those pawns don't have as much of a use. Like the incisors or blitzes or medium tanks and pounders, like going to be a much better choice here.
All right, and what do we have here? So Contra is still fighting here. We've got incisors there. They want to push. But
Contra's losing a couple of cons at the bottom there.
Oh no, yeah, man, Teddy has found these cons multiple times. I almost feel like Contra might need just a little protective force of pawns down here, but this is Whistler Brute, Whistler Pounder, which I think is one of the rare unit combinations I've ever seen. But I mean, it works, right? They can chip away from range, and if anything gets close, they can just shred. Oh, Teddy.
Well, that kind of
APM stalls a bit. There's a massive pawn invasion here, and they clean up that whole raiding force on the left. But Teddy's gonna commit in with a lot of incisors. He gets the solar, the mechs, and then he backs off. And he
that's the kind of play that Contra needs to do to get back in this game here. At this point, he just has those Rex there to eat now. But yeah, he's got to be really careful with those Whistlers because they're going to be really annoying pressing at this defense here.
We got Banshees. Unfortunately, I don't know what he can really get done with these. Well, I guess he can snipe mixes, but there's a
I mean, he might go straight for the comm. This is something that works. Like
but there's lashers there, right? Like he knows there's lashers.
Oh yeah, there's like quite a few lashers. You're right. I got excited.
I guess maybe if he tries to swerve around, kind of behind it, maybe he can do it. Oh
well, yeah. If he lets his base get like run into, he has to time this out basically, where the lashers aren't there. Oh, and Teddy, I guess, was notified because he's building anti-air now too.
This is so brutal. I mean, these pounders are just keeping everything at range, and the lashers are just slowly chipping away. And Contra's trying to throw. Oh, Centurions! I'm sorry. What?
Yeah,
Takes
so
down a
Centurion-
pounder. Second Centurion actually man fighting incredibly well
Okay.
with the pounder.
Yeah, looks like Contra's going now to try to snipe the commander.
Oh, he doesn't know where it is. He has scouts though, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Does he see? He doesn't see the comm. Is it cloaked? It's cloaked. Oh, he sees the radar dot, but he can't commit there. There's too much AA. And I think he might just be too far behind.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think Teddy saw the air lab or saw some air units. And yeah, he just calls it there.
Yeah. He's gonna clean it up and yeah. I think you're right.
Because yeah, as soon as like Teddy starts moving his forces in,
oh my God,
he started building anti-air.
Yeah, Contra's dead there. That dive from Teddy just kills him. Whew.
Right.
Some stats. What do we got here? Yeah, Teddy. I mean, from 7 minutes on, Teddy just felt like he was pretty far ahead. But I mean, Contra played really well. I feel a little bit though, like sort of, I feel like Teddy is kind of like Contra's kryptonite, right? Because they also played in qualifiers, right? And he lost in the upper bracket, got knocked down to the lower bracket, killed the lower bracket, got up to the grand finals, and then lost to Teddy in the grand finals again. And then unfortunately, he's in Group B and he loses to Teddy 2-0 in this, which is gotta be a little frustrating.
It's very possible that it's just kind of like in his head.
Paused. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
like overthinking about it. I mean, I know that can happen. Well, that can happen to anybody, but I know
true.
Contra usually, you know, doesn't let it bother him at all, but you know, that doesn't mean that it never does.
Yeah, it's, you know, I think a big thing in a lot of these tournaments is sort of like the ability to reset. And even though the game is not looking great, you know, you can still kind of figure out some way to, you know, kind of move forward. And it's like, yeah, everyone has a bad game, but if you can, you know, if you can recover from that and.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, you know, I haven't, I know Contra's been busy. He hasn't actually been able to do a lot of training this week, so he might just be a little rusty as well.
Fair enough. So Group B, we've got the first round all done. So Modulo beat X Factor 2-1, and Teddy just beat Contra 2-0, which means that we are ready to move on to round 2, the winners final and the losers final. So winners final is going to be Modulo versus Teddy, and losers final is going to be Contra versus X Factor. Which one of those are you more excited to see, Zateo?
I mean, either of them. I mean, both of them really, because I mean, Modulo to beat X Factor, like I wouldn't have guessed that. But I know, you know, Modulo has been practicing a lot, so I mean,
yeah, that's true.
You know, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's totally true.
But that should be a good match to just kind of watch him, you know, do better and better, and just see how he does against Teddy.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, Contra's my guy, so I mean, I'm always eager to watch his games as well. But
Fair enough. Yeah, well, we'll see when those next games start, and that is it for us now. We will be back when the next series starts. Have a good one.
Yeah. GG's.